Hey guys, Devil Dog Gamer here, and welcome to another Marine Corps Mondays. And this week I'm going to be talking about what it's like to go from being a Marine to a civilian, and what kind of difficulties I faced and problems that I came across. And, you know, I've been getting asked this question a ton, and it's something I can really relate to right now because I'm still dealing with a lot of problems from the Marines and, trying to become a civilian again. And then there's still, a few things that I latched onto still as a Marine, and, I can't really transfer over to being, civilian. But, becoming a Marine isn't easy, and, turning that in, becoming a civilian again is even harder, in my opinion. You can't just turn off being a Marine. Once you're a Marine, always a Marine, and, there's a lot of things about it you can't just turn off, and you're pretty much stuck with for the rest of your life. And, you have to just live your day the best you can and try to make it work as a civilian. But, as a lot of you know, I was planning on being a Marine for, as a career. So when I got medically separated for my knee injuries, it's kind of a big blow to me. And the biggest problem I faced when I got out is, well, what the hell do I do now? I never had a backup plan. I never, never wanted to do anything else. So I spent a long time, and I mean, just now I figured out what I wanted to do with my life, and that's going to the IT field and everything. But for the longest time I pretty much just worked a job to pay the bills and just kind of floated along trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it was funny because when I got out of the Marines, my local sheriff's department, probably the week I got home, my recruiter, who was actually my platoon sergeant in my unit, he was the recruiter down here. And he knew a lot of the sheriff guys, and he told them, I was moving back in the area, and, about my background training. They actually called me the week I got out and offered me a job as one of their firearm instructors. And, of course, my dumb ass turns the job down, thinking, yeah, I don't know, there's probably something better out there for me. That was probably one of the dumbest things I could have ever done. And the only regret I ever faced when I got out, I should have took the job. Getting to play with guns all day and teaching people how to shoot all day and getting paid for it. I could have lived with that. But anyways, there's a lot of things, my biggest thing was when I got out of the Marines, you're going from a structured life to where your whole day is planned out for you. You know what you have to do, and every day's the same pretty much, to you can do whatever the hell you want. And that was one of the harder challenges for me, I don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. and go PT. I don't have to be at formation at 0700. I don't have to, get my shit together for the field for the next week, and it was kind of weird when I, like that first time I ever woke up, really late and kind of slept in. It really felt weird, and I felt like a lazy bastard, and I started getting depressed about it. Because, I wasn't PTing anymore. I didn't have anybody who was sitting there, pushing me on runs and shit. And, I tried to keep up with the PT, but after a while, it was like, why am I doing this? There's no reason for me to do any of this. And, eventually I kind of just let it go, and I ended up losing 30 pounds, and that, that's probably muscle that I all lost. I'm still not even up to the weight I was when I left the Marines, and I go to the gym 5 days a week right now. And, that was one of the harder challenges is, well, what the hell did I do with my day? And I ended up getting out when the recession was pretty bad. And there weren't a lot of jobs out. And one of the first jobs I got was working at Steak and Shake as a waiter. I fucking hated that. Ended up quitting after, 2 months because it was just retarded. I hated it. I was so pissed at myself. I was like, wow, I go from being a badass to a fucking waiter. This is stupid. Then, the only other thing that was hiring at that time was Walmart, and they were a bunch of Nazis. I hated everything about that. I ended up getting manager pretty quick, or one of their mid-tier managers or whatever. And they ended up firing all the guys that worked for me and kind of left me on my own. Because I was such a hardcore worker, they figured I could do it all by myself. Well, I thought that was probably fucked up, so I ended up quitting. But anyways, for probably, I would say, a month or two when I got back, I didn't leave the house. I didn't want to be associated with any fucking civilian. Needless to say, I thought they were nasty as fuck. Walking with your hands in your pockets, fucking chewing gum and walking, and just being legit nasty. I couldn't stand it. It would stress me the hell out. And I used to think, like, wow, if I ever caught one of my boots doing this shit, like, he would fucking hate life at that point. And these people do it on a daily basis. And I used to think, like, is that what I'm going to become? Is that, I know that's what I used to be, but is this really what I'm going to become again? And it kind of really made me depressed. And there was some pretty low points in that time. You kind of go from having a purpose and, being one of the most elite fighting forces in the world to just fucking average Joe, just hanging around. And it really pissed me off. And a lot of my friends and family really helped me through that time. And it was pretty hard. The other part is, dealing with your benefits and everything. And, I eventually just gave up on most of that, trying to get my disability and everything, because it's such a fucked up and long process. And there were a lot of things that I fucked up on when I was checking out and signing all my paperwork, and I just wanted to get the hell out of base and go home and just get on with the rest of my life. And I ended up fucking signing some shit I shouldn't have, and was fighting my way to try to get a lot of it, and my benefits, my GI Bill and stuff. And that was like the most depressing part. I gave everything I had to the Marines, and they pretty much said, well, fuck you, and you're not getting shit from us now. And that was the hardest part for me, was just knowing that, I really loved that service, and I really loved being a Marine, but they didn't give a shit after I was out. And I don't think, I don't put it against the Marines, I put it more towards the VA and the Navy, because Navy doctors are fucking idiots. I hate Navy doctors with a passion. If anybody ever told me that, like, oh yeah, I was a Navy psych doctor or fucking, VA, Navy hospital doctor, I would fucking call them a faggot right in their face. Like, I hate them. They don't give two shits about Marines. They will fucking screw you over in a heartbeat just so they can go to lunch early. Don't trust a Navy doctor at all. I'm telling you guys this right now because I got severely fucked by one. And, the amount of bullshit I had to put up with, like 3 years worth of bullshit after I got out because of one fucking Navy doctor. Absolute bullshit. But, it's a lasting battle trying to, fight all this stuff and get everything, you're entitled to. And that's the most saddening and sickening part of being a veteran. And there's a lot of guys like me who have to fight for their shit, and they shouldn't have to. And, the VA is just absolute garbage. I did not go to a VA hospital. I pretty much told them to go fuck themselves because they're nasty, they're dirty, they're fucking mean to you, they don't give a shit. And I'd rather go pay out of pocket and go to an actual hospital where I'm going to get good treatment. Fuck the VA hospital. And, that was pretty much, where I started getting depressed, was where, I realized they don't really give a shit. And, basically, when you guys who are going to join the Marines get out and become, civilians, start dealing with the VA, you'll see what I'm talking about. And, the other part is, and, a lot of the times, I'm kind of not really, I don't have PTSD. I'm pretty level-headed. I do get nervous at certain things, like vehicles driving fast, like up behind me, like if I have somebody flying up on my ass, I kind of get a little nervous. I don't freak out, but I get a little nervous. The other thing is, I don't like a lot of people around me. I'm dealing with this problem right now where I don't like to go to clubs. And my girlfriend loves going to clubs. She wants to go out and, go dancing, drinking and stuff. But I don't like people behind me, standing behind me, or a lot of people around me. It kind of bugs me out. I've dealt with a few situations with suicide bombers, and I think that has a lot to do with it. But other than that, it's just not really, I don't, completely lose my mind. I just get a little nervous. I don't really think that has anything to do with PTSD. I just think, that's something I have to work for on myself. And, the worst part about it all was, you really can't translate infantry into, a civilian job. Like, if you put, I was an 0311 infantry, served in this and this, and you go apply for, something stupid like a secretary job or, something like that, they don't give two shits, because there's nothing qualified other than the leadership that you did. And it's kind of like, it kind of made me think, maybe I should have picked something else, because maybe I would have had a fallback skill, or, something else like an electrician, or engine, mechanic or something. I could have fallen back on that when I got out. And, that's my biggest lesson out of this whole thing, do your infantry. If you want to be infantry, do infantry. Enjoy it, have fun, kick some ass. But I would really highly suggest, with the way the economy is and everything now, that you put an extra 4 years in, but you pick something that you can fall back on, that you can go into the civilian world and take all that training and everything that you did with that MOS and put it straight into a job where you're making money. Like aircraft mechanic. Aircraft mechanics make you bank. When you think about it, the military, if you do that MOS, the military's paying for all your training and everything, and you can just get out of the 4 years and just start making almost 6 figures straight out of the bat. I mean, sure, you can be a cop with infantry, but cops don't make a lot of money. And honestly, you couldn't pay me enough to put my life on the line for some people I don't know. Sure, that was cool when I was in the Marines, but as a cop, no. You need to pay me like 6 figures to do that, with the amount of bullshit you gotta put up with and everything. And, that's the only advice I can give for people who are kind of worried about all that, is just try something out. Try to get another MOS with something you can fall back on. But, the more I think about it, honestly, I mean, everybody's results are going to vary. I didn't really have, like flashbacks or anything, like, having a hard time adjusting that way. It was just more of the fact that I didn't have, anything to do, or, just didn't want to be a civilian. So, I mean, it's like, I know there's some guys out there who, have a hard time adjusting due to, like, combat experience. I never had a hard time adjusting due to any combat experience. I mean, combat's combat, there's not really anything in the civilian world that's ever gonna, even come close to that. I mean, sure, maybe one day I'll have to use my firearm to defend myself, I'll do it, but I'm not gonna freak out and anything. But I mean, like, never had any of those problems where, you get a backfire of a car and you hit the ground. Never had any of that. Never had trouble sleeping. None of that stuff. It was just mostly, going from structured lifestyle to nothing, and pretty much hating being a civilian. I mean, those were my only problems. I'm not antisocial. I don't have, like, any emotional problems. I just get nervous every once in a while due to certain things. But, it's a fighting battle. You gotta fight it. And, did I do everything I could have done? Well, maybe. I don't know. That's yet to be seen. Alright, guys, but this one's wrapping up. Make sure you give it a like and a favorite. If you got any questions, I'll do another question and answers next week, so leave your questions in the comments below. Alright, guys, talk to you later. Peace.